Have you ever noticed what happens after you excitedly tell everyone about a big goal you're about to chase? You feel powerful, motivated, almost unstoppable. But then, somehow, days pass, and nothing moves. That strange, silent gap between intention and action is where many dreams quietly disappear. Today's story explores why that happens and how one simple shift can change everything. In a quiet hillside village, surrounded by dusty roads and old stone houses, there lived a young man named Ilias. Ilias wasn't lazy. In fact, he was full of ideas. Big ideas? Bold ideas? Every week, he felt a fresh wave of inspiration. One Monday, he decided he would open the largest trading shop the village had ever seen. The following week, he became fascinated with pottery. A few days later, he was convinced he would build his own house from the ground up. His imagination never rested. But Elias had one habit that quietly sabotaged every dream before it had a chance to breathe. Before he ever lifted a tool, touched clay, or wrote a single plan, Elias made sure everyone knew what he was about to do. He would walk through the crowded market, chest high, voice loud, announcing his future. "I'm opening the biggest shop in this village," he would proclaim. People smiled. Some clapped. Others nodded in approval. They told him how smart he was, how talented, how successful he would become. Elias soaked it in. He felt important, special. That night, he slept deeply, convinced he was already on his way to greatness. But the next morning, something strange happened. The excitement was gone. The fire inside him had cooled. The idea that felt so powerful the day before now felt heavy. Starting seemed difficult. Days passed. The shop never appeared. And soon, Elias had a brand new dream. This time, he gathered people in the village square and announced, "I will become the finest potter anyone has ever seen. My pots will be famous." Again, people cheered. Again, they praised him. Again, Elias felt wonderful. And again, a few days later, he lost interest. The clay remained untouched. The wheels stayed clean. Nothing happened. Years slipped by like this. New dream. Big announcement. Warm applause. No action. Elias grew older, but his life stayed the same. Inside, a quiet shame began to grow. He couldn't understand why he kept failing. He wanted to succeed. He truly did. Yet every path he stepped onto ended almost immediately. One evening, as the sky burned orange and purple, Elias sat alone near the village well, staring into the water. An elderly man approached him. His name was Maron. He was known for speaking little and observing much. People respected him, not because he was loud, but because he was wise. Maron sat beside Elias and asked gently, "Why does your heart feel so heavy tonight?" Elias let out a long breath. "I have so many dreams, but I never finish anything. I don't know what's wrong with me." Maron studied him quietly. "Tell me, what do you usually do when you get a new idea?" Elias answered without thinking. "I tell everyone. I want them to know. I want them to believe in me." Maron smiled softly. "Meet me tomorrow morning in my garden. I want to show you something." The next day, Elias arrived at Maron's small garden behind his cottage. Maron held 2 tiny seeds in his palm. He handed one to Elias and said, "Plant this in the soil." Elias dug a small hole, placed the seed inside, and covered it carefully. Then Maron lifted the second seed into the air and called to some children nearby. Look, everyone! Soon this seed will become a great tree. Watch how amazing it will be." The children clapped and laughed. Maron placed the seed on a flat rock in the sun. Days passed. After some time, a small green sprout broke through the soil. Birds pecked at it. Eventually, it disappeared. Maron stood beside Elias and said, "A seed needs darkness to grow. Silence. Protection. If you leave it exposed, it dies before it becomes anything." Then he looked into Elias's eyes. "When you announce them too early, your mind receives the reward before the work is done. Praise gives you a false sense of success. Your brain thinks the job is finished, so the fire to act disappears." Something clicked inside Elias. He saw himself in the seed on the rock. Maron continued, "Let your dreams grow underground first. Feed them with effort, not with words. When they are strong, people will notice without you saying anything." That night, Elias made a quiet promise to himself. He chose a simple goal: build a wooden chair. And this time, he told no one. Every evening, after finishing his daily chores, Elias worked with wood in silence. Some nights, he felt inspired. Some nights, he felt exhausted. But no one was watching. No one was praising. No one was expecting anything. There was only the work. Weeks passed. The chair slowly took shape. It wasn't perfect. Elias made mistakes. He corrected them. He learned. And one evening, the chair was finished. Elias sat on it and felt something new. Not loud pride, not borrowed pride, but quiet, solid pride. A neighbor noticed the chair and asked, "When did you make this?" Elias smiled. "I've been working on it." Word spread. People admired his work. But Elias had already begun building a table, then a shelf, then a stool, always in silence. Years later, Elias became known as one of the village's finest craftsmen, not because of his promises, but because of his results. And now, think about your own life. How many times have you spoken a goal out loud and then watched it fade? Maybe the secret isn't more motivation. Maybe the secret is less talking. If this story resonated with you, tap like, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And subscribe for more stories that change the way we see life.